But
Hi everyone.
hi, people. Hi, everyone. Good evening, Kenya. Good evening, UK. Good whatever time you are in the world. Hi, and welcome to our Thursday Live.
Hi Yvette.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi everyone. I'm Nicole Hanselman. This is our platform Success Your Way movement. We do stream in different platforms on our page, on our YouTube channel, and in our group. So wherever you're joining us from, do say hello to us and tell us where you're joining us from. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're talking about mental health, and today we'll try and to go deeper into it than we normally do because we've got
Mm.
somebody who is so good at it. Yvette.
Yes. Tell me. Yeah, so we introduced mental health on Monday, but we just brushed through it, talked about the common things that we know, common things that we could be going through. But today, an expert is coming to dissect that topic and shed more light and tell us what it's all about, and
Yeah.
just even provide solutions, working solutions for us. Oh, this is going to be exciting. This is going to be informative, Kabisa, and
Kapisa,
I'm sure at the
absolutely.
end of it, we'll all come out with something new from it, from this
Yeah,
session. Mm.
couldn't agree more. So what we normally do, I go on my phone and try and tag my friends. I try and tag any names that come up first. So yeah, baguzi of some sort. So the names that come up first are the
Yeah.
ones that tag.
The-
But I just hope you're joining us. Tell us your name, where you're joining from. To Salimie, to Salimie, to Salimie. I'm
mm.
seeing somebody
Yeah.
has joined us. Oh, hi Jace. I was just tagging you. I thought I have to call you. Kumbe leo uko, eh?
She's already
Unajua
here.
ngangari or what?
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll just tag a couple of names. Oh no, a few actually.
Yes.
And then we
Mm.
get on with it. Okay. And so, because we have time, but Yvette might have to leave. So we'll
Yes.
try and get to learn a lot while she's still here with us. But our
Mm.
guest will be here with us, so don't panic. We'll try and cover as
Mm-hmm.
much as possible. So without maybe wasting more time, without further ado, let us welcome our guest,
For the
Scott
evening.
Alich. Oh, hold on. Pardon me.
Okay, still tagging. Yeah, as you're joining, let us know where you're joining from. Just say hi to us so that we know you're here with us. It's always good
Absolutely.
to know you guys are with us here.
Absolutely. Sorry, my tag. I lost my tags
Oh,
just before I posted them. Hi, Scotch.
Hi
hi,
everybody, how are
Scotch.
you?
Hi. Tell us
Fine,
about
great to be
yourself.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Thank you very much, Nicole and Yvette, for giving me this opportunity to actually come in and actually say hi to everybody and join in the show. I've always been seeing the show, but I've always wished to come, but now I'm here, which is really, really amazing. So, the people
Mm-hmm.
who don't know me, I'm Scotch Alich. I am the founder of Scotch Kitchen, and I'm also the CEO of Scotch Kitchen. Currently, I'm based in Nuneaton. Nuneaton is a very small village somewhere in England. But I'm grateful to be here. I'm Kenyan, by the way, as well as British, but Kenyan more than British, which is okay. And I am here basically to talk about something that is close to my heart, which is mental health. And that's the topic of choice today. So I hope you've taken a seat and you're ready to learn a few things. And I'm excited to be here, really. Thank you very much, Nicole.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you. I'm so glad. I've watched you. I know you love mental health. I do know you love mental health. So you have so much to teach us. I wanted to point out though, is the sound okay? From my end, it sounded a little bit low. Is it okay from your end, Yvette?
It's okay from my end. I could hear her.
You could hear clearly,
I
so not a
Yeah,
problem.
I hope our audience can hear her clearly, but on my side it was okay.
It's fine, cool.
Mm.
So, Haya, where do you want to start from? Let's start from, Yvette,
We just
take over,
dive in and go straight to mental health. Scotch, please define, because I know you're an expert in this. Just define what mental health is.
Very
The
quick before
way.
I define what mental health is, Nicole, if you please tag me on the thing because I can't see myself so that I can. There are a few people who wanted to join from my end, but I can't see on this on the Facebook page for me to be able to tag in somebody. So if you do that for me, I'll be grateful. And with that, I'll go ahead and just like start. So mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. So mental health is a whole package basically of us human beings and our daily life. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. So basically, like just with what we've talked about so far, what I've just read there, it explains to you that mental health is not an individual thing. It's not just something that somebody can put a finger at and say that's mental health. It's a whole package of us human beings, our daily life, what we go through, our environment, our behavior, and also how we react to things. What do you guys think about that?
Nice, nice. But how comes when you think of mental health, the only thing that comes to our head is depression?
I can say that is it's sort of like a stigma. It's apart from, like, us growing up at home in Kenya, we used to just imagine somebody who has mental health. You say mtu ako na wazimu, and we imagine somebody who has mental health is those people who are walking on the streets, or somebody who's naked, who's throwing tantrums. Actually, mental health has a broad aspect of it. It's not only like you are like completely out of it. There's so many different types of mental health where if you had opportunity, we'll go through as many as we can. And you are able to understand it in details. So it's going to help us basically remove that stigma where we only think mental health is somebody who's completely out of their mind. That's not the only thing, because me and you and everybody around us might be having a form of a mental health disorder rather than a mental health issue. And that's where we have
Wow, I
to
didn't know
break
there was a
that down.
difference.
Yeah, I know.
And their issues. So let's say, for example, let's imagine you are having a bad day. Yeah, you are having an issue. You're not having a disorder. And that's where we need to actually understand it in details, what somebody's actually talking about when they say they have a mental health disorder.
Okay.
So what happens when, sorry, Yvette. So what happens if somebody just wakes up and today they're like, I'm feeling depressed? You know the way we use that term loosely.
Yeah.
Which category is that? How do you define that?
Okay, I will actually go into that in detail in a few. If I can just read this one really quick. A mental illness is a health problem that significantly affects how a person thinks, behaves, and interacts with others. It is diagnosed according to standardized criteria. Just as you've said, like maybe you wake up in the morning and you say, I am depressed. That is just a word that we use. But actually, you're not depressed, because for you to be depressed, on it itself, which I'm going to read for you the symptoms of, or this the symptoms of somebody who's actually depressed. It's a process where you have to go through, or it is something that you feel. Because the thing is, you cannot just wake up one day and you're depressed. The question will be to you, what is depressing you? And you'll be like, or maybe you're thinking of events that were supposed to be happening on that day, and you're worried about that. That means you are anxious, but you're not anxious meaning that you have a anxiety disorder. You are anxious because your body is reacting to what is about to happen. Yeah. So mental illness issues refers to a wide range of mental health condition disorders that affect your mood, thinking, and behavior. Example of mental illness includes depression, anxiety disorder, schizophrenic, eating disorders. I'm going to go through these specific disorders. We have 10 which are very common, and
Wow.
which we also loosely use when we are talking about things. So the ones that we normally love using are anxiety, personality disorder. When we say ule ako na wazimu anazungumza kama watu 10, that's a personality disorder. ADHD, PTSD, depression, bipolar, eating disorder, ASD, psychotic disorder. So those are basically just 10. But now we can go inside and understand how these 10 come about.
Okay,
So
Scotch.
yeah, that's okay.
Scotch, I have a question before we dive inside, yeah. Just a follow-up to what Nicole has asked, yeah. There's some
Yes.
days that you wake up with really low energy, or you're just going through the day and you have really low energy. You don't feel like going to work. You don't feel like doing anything. Okay, as females, sometimes, our cycle really determines, our state of mind.
Yeah.
So will that also fall under the category of mental health? Or is that physiological, or
I can
where would it be?
say because it can't fall under the disorder part.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main reason why I'm saying it can't fall under the disorder part, because that is a feeling you're feeling, but at the end of the day, you might be feeling better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody who's depressed is a condition that it's a feeling that they are having not only in one day, 2 days, it's a feeling they have between 1 month to 7 or 8 months. It's not like they're only waking up this week and they are feeling, oh, I can't be bothered. We wake up sometimes and we feel, today I just want to chill. I don't want to do anything. Or today I don't want to talk to anybody. That feeling you go through only for that day or for 2 days. It becomes a disorder when you realize the first week you're feeling low. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to listen. You're just feeling, I can't be bothered mood. Week 1, and it goes on to week 2, where you're avoiding everybody, you're avoiding things. And when it gets to week 3 and week 4, you will realize, 1, you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you can't speak to anybody, you can't eat, you can't cook. It affects all the aspects of your life. You actually realize this thing is affecting everything as a human being, every aspect of your life. Then that is when you can say you've actually
it's a disorder.
Actually having the depression as a disorder, not that just you've woken up and you're not feeling well. I hope I've answered that.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. So
now
if I
let's
just read
dive
for
in.
you, I've gone straight to the depression disorder. If you feel sad for weeks on end, find yourself low on energy or motivation, or no longer enjoy doing things that used to interest you, you might be experiencing depression. It's not necessarily about feeling sad.
No.
So depression, the symptoms are a continuous low mood or sadness, feeling hopeless and helpless, having low self-esteem, feeling tearful, feeling guilt-ridden, feeling irritable and intolerant of others, having no motivation or interest in things, finding it difficult to make decisions, feeling anxious or worried, having suicidal thoughts or thoughts of harming yourself. So I've read a lot of them, but you realize when we normally wake up and say you're depressed, it's just a feeling you're having will last
just a feeling.
At that time.
You're just broke. Sometimes people are just broke and they go like, oh, I'm depressed. So you just haven't got money. You've not eaten. You've not re-energized. So, sometimes for us, like Yvette was saying, as women, we experience the moods depending on our hormones. I think it's very vital for us to understand what stage of our lives we are in, so that we understand that, you know what, I'm just going through a low mood. Don't dwell on that feeling and start feeling guilty about you feeling low and just wanting to sleep the whole day that day. So long as it's not repetitive, like you're saying, defining it, you're not doing you're not doing it every day, then you're safe. You're not mentally
Yeah.
Ill, if you may
And
call it.
Scotch, if I may ask, yeah,
Yeah,
these
yeah,
feelings come from somewhere. Maybe
correct.
some tragic event might have happened in your life, and then okay,
Yeah,
normally after a couple of days, then you kind of bounce back, yeah. So
correct.
is it correct to say that there's a trigger for depression? There has to be an event prior to these feelings.
Correct, because basically, as human beings, we have our daily life. Things actually happen in our daily life. So, in
Mm,
regards to depression, you
yeah.
just won't wake up first. Okay, let's imagine. Let's just talk about, let's say, somebody who's actually in a very abusive relationship, and they feel that they have no end, or basically they feel that they are trapped in a way that they feel they cannot leave the relationship. When you're outside of that kind of a relationship, you can easily give somebody advice and tell them, oh, by the way, you can actually come out, there's this option, there's this option. But the person who's actually in that relationship, it's difficult for them to see what you're actually seeing, because they feel that is the only person who they can rely on. Because most people who are going through different abuse, the abusers always dominate them in a way
Mm,
that they feel that that is the only place that they can be. So somebody like that can start having the depression spouts, because they don't realize, by the way, when you start actually in that kind of situation, you don't realize that you are actually starting to be depressed, because one, your abuser is going to isolate you from people, so you will only be
mm,
having that abuser to talk to. You won't have people to talk to. Talking to people actually is a relief, it's a
Yeah.
therapy.
mm,
So that one as well is going to make you have low mood swings, because you do not have anybody to share with what you are actually feeling. So you're
Yeah.
feeling sad. You can't explain to
Yeah.
somebody, I'm feeling sad. You can't
yes.
tell your abuser that you are sad, because most of the abusers, they abuse you today, and tomorrow they actually buy you a present or they entertain you. So they are trying to squash your feeling, but in you, you'll be entertained for a period of time, and then you go back to your sadness. You'll be sad
Mm,
again. So you
Yeah.
being sad builds up for you starting feeling that you do not have any other option of leaving that relationship. So that starts
mm,
building up. And the more it builds up, you realize you're going to start feeling you can't be bothered doing anything, because you believe nobody's helping you. Anybody telling you how you can come out of that relationship, you feel that they don't love
Yeah.
you, and that's why they want you to leave this person who loves you. You stuck in this relationship because this person is abusing you one day, but tomorrow they are loving you like as if there is no other person in the world.
mm,
So you are stuck in this cycle basically of pain and happiness. But if you think about it, there's no happiness there.
Mm.
It is like the easiest I can put it is in Kiswahili, we say when you have a kidonda, you have a wound, and then somebody keeps on hitting
Mm.
you on that wound and blowing it.
Yeah.
So
mm,
you're
Yeah.
not feeling
Kupuliza na
this is
kuuma na what is it called? Kuuma na kupuliza or
kupuliza.
something like that.
yes, kuuma na
Mm.
kupuliza. So basically, you're not really having that happiness spout. It's mainly the sadness,
Yeah.
because when they hit you, that wound, it's already a wound. You are already feeling low. But when
Mm,
they hit you
Yeah.
where below, instead of you uplifting yourself, actually they keep on pushing you down. Another good example is the person who's abusing you, yes? So they abuse you tonight, and then tomorrow they take you out. So if you look at
mm,
this properly, you realize this person is pushing you under them. They've beaten you, you're already under them. But now they are treating you, so you realize there's no other person you can rely on apart from this person. You are still
yes.
under them. So you always in this cycle, and the more you go through this cycle, that's when you start having these other symptoms that we've actually
Mm,
talked about. And
Mm.
continuous moods and sadness, you'll always be sad, because this cycle of happiness and sadness is going
Yeah.
up and down.
mm,
Hopeless and helpless. You are definitely hopeless, because this person is the only person who's abusing you, and you trust them and you rely on them. So basically, you
mm,
feel
Yeah.
hopeless. you'll have low self-esteem because already this person tells you, if you tell anybody, they won't believe you. So if
Yeah.
somebody keeps on telling you this,
Mm.
you yourself as an individual, you will start not trusting you. And remember, if somebody keeps on telling you you're worthless, the more they tell you, the more you start believing it. And now
Yeah.
it becomes
True.
part of you. So
Very
that's where
true.
the
Yeah.
having low self-esteem comes in.
Mm.
Feeling tearful.
Yeah.
You'll always be tearful. But the thing is, remember, most of these people who are always in these bouts of abuse, even if they're going through so much, they will try and avoid expressing themselves through crying or through their tears. So they will always be holding it. But if
Yeah.
another person tries to speak to them, that's when they will start trying to actually cry, or they'll
Mm.
always be behaving as if I want to cry, but I cannot do it because maybe my abuser is watching. That's why I cannot do that. The abuser will make sure this person is feeling guilty because some people always, the abuser will tell you, oh, you made me do that. You made me slap you. You made me do this because you did not do this. So that person is always going to be guilty because they're going to be feeling, oh, I can't do that because if I do that, this person is going to beat me up. This person is going to abuse me. So they are feeling guilt already. So they're always feeling guilt-ridden because that is how they are meant to feel. And then
Yeah.
they will be
So
feeling
sad.
irritable and intolerant of others. So basically, they don't want to face other people because they feel if I face another person, that person is going to tell me my husband or my boyfriend or my partner or whoever is abusing me is not a good person. And I don't want to feel that because that's not true. Because remember, the abuser have already told this person like that. They'll be feeling anxious or worried every time because they are not really comfortable in that life they are living. They are worried because they don't know, if I say something, will I get a slap? If I move, will I get a slap? If I just even blink, if I want to open my mouth and say, will I even get a slap? So that is how the cycle of depression actually manifests
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
becomes an actual disorder. And that's why you see when some people who are really on their heights of their depression, they actually end up committing suicide because they feel I don't have anywhere else. I don't have no one who can actually understand what I am going through because they feel
Yeah.
this is my end. For me to actually feel
Yeah.
better is for me to
Yeah.
end life. And that's how I'm
Yeah.
going to feel better. And that's why
Yeah.
we have lots of suicidal depression and suicide coming side by side. Hope
Yeah.
that answers
Yeah, and
um,
yeah, and I've also noticed that many people who are going through depression, it's like depression takes away, the dignity, the
The joy.
humanity in them. Yeah, some people won't shower, some people won't leave their beds, some people
correct.
isolate themselves. It's like they are no longer human beings. They just become dehumanized completely.
Yeah. The
Yes,
mental state, I think the mental state at that point is that why bother? Why try? And then you don't. A lot of
Yes.
things don't make sense to you anymore.
Mm,
Because this is
mm,
a journey that I've been through. Even though I didn't get to the point where I diagnosed with depression or whatever, but I was
mm.
just the last step. I was just at the door because I was told I was
Yeah.
got low moods and high stress, and I realized for myself that I didn't want to do the fun things anymore. You just want to be
Yes.
on your own, and then you run out of energy. You're fed up of trying to be okay
Mhm.
for people.
Mm.
You're fed up of like smiling because when you're
Yeah.
out there you have to act civil, and you're just
Mm.
fed up. You're running up day by day. You don't even want to get up and go to work anymore. You don't want to be bothered with all those routines. So why
Mm.
go there and try smiling at people? You just prefer to be, you know what? I just prefer to be at home on my own. So on a Friday evening, the first thing you do, you just want to shut yourself in there until the next time you're needed outside in the world. And that's how people end up excluding themselves from the society. And when
Yeah.
you miss that social interaction, taking your life is so easy, or taking your kids' life
Can
is so easy.
imagine.
Yeah,
Mm.
you think I'm saving them from all this pain. Why would I want them to be in this pain, especially if you lack information or you don't feel any glimpse of hope in your life? That's
Mm.
why I'm so glad you're here, Scotch, to bring this awareness to teach us about this, because we know that even though we're not suffering ourselves, sometimes we know somebody is suffering. And this knowledge and awareness help us. I'll just invite Yeah, I'll just ask the people who have just joined us. This is a free discussion. Tell us your own experiences. We love learning from each other. Scotch is telling us everything she knows. She's going through the types, the whatever,
Mm.
everything's a symptom. She's gonna go through it. But you know, we all have personal experiences, and they're different for everybody. So do join in and tell us your own experiences. And if you haven't got anything to share, just say hello. Let us
Mm.
know that you're there with us. Yeah, so yes, Coach Ebu and Elea, this
Mm.
is
Okay,
so
and then
important.
okay, let's talk about anxiety. So basically, this is where we have a bit of confusion because we just assume anxiety is on its own. We have three
Mm.
different types of anxiety. So we have SAD, we have OCD, and we have GAD. So I'll just break that down. So anxiety disorders are a cluster of mental disorder characterized by significant and uncontrolled feelings of anxiety and fear, such that a person's social, occupational, and personal function are significantly impaired. Anxiety is a worry about future events, while
Mm-hmm.
fear is a reaction to a current event. So there is anxiety is a worry about something that has not happened, something that is about to happen. It's in the future. But when you're scared, when you fear something, it's a reaction to an event that is currently happening. So
Mm-hmm.
if I just go quickly onto the GAD, so I've said anxiety, we have SAD, which we normally say I am sad. We have OCD and we have GAD. So let's go to GAD. GAD means general anxiety disorder. So with the GAD, the symptoms is dizziness, tiredness, unnoticeable strong, fast, or irregular heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
muscle aches and tension, trembling or shaking, dry mouth, excessive sweating, shortness of breath. So remember with what I've
Mm-hmm.
just said there, if let's imagine you are having an interview tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to
Yeah, you know, you're
completely
making us
Yeah,
worry
really,
actually,
about
that is what
that.
came to my mind. An interview.
actually, we
When you're
misuse these words. We really misuse these words. When
we
people
do.
like sometimes we brag at in anxiety, but we don't realize how it affects other people's life and how deep
Yeah.
it is, the real symptoms of it. Oh my God.
Exactly. Because
Oh my
again, when
God.
I
So you
talk
said,
about something like trembling or shaking, yes, sometimes you see somebody and they're so worried about what's happening tomorrow until they're like literally trembling and you're wondering what's wrong with you. Mbona uko na
mm,
wasiwasi hivyo? You need to
Mm.
relax, but you have to realize this is somebody who's actually going through a disorder, and you realize there are some people actually they always have God 24/7, and somebody like that is actually having a disorder. They need to get help to be able to understand how their body is actually reacting to
Mm.
things that are always happening in the future. The common one that we normally say, oh, I am very sad. Sad actually means social anxiety disorder. It's actually a disorder on its own. It's a form of anxiety, which
Okay.
comes with the blushing, fast heartbeat, trembling, sweating, upset stomach or nuisance, trouble
Oh.
kids have
catching your
that a
breath.
lot, isn't it? It's
Yes.
common
Mm.
with kids or not?
Just say that again.
It's common with children.
Yes, yes. When they say I have butterflies, I'm
But
feeling
they
like I'm
say I
having
have butterfly.
butterflies
Yeah,
anytime. So
yeah.
that
Butterflies.
is part of SAD. Dizziness or lightheadedness, feeling that
Mm.
your mind has gone blank.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
you see, we actually sometimes have these feelings, but just imagine somebody having these feelings every time. Because yes, sometimes
Mm.
we feel we have sad, but not as a disorder. We have sad as a feeling where you feel that you're worried. You start sweating. Your palms are sweating. Especially like again, we spoke about the interview. You said you're having butterflies, or maybe if you're having a date, you're meeting
Oh.
somebody for the first time, and you say, "Oh, I'm having butterflies, or I'm actually going to, there's some people who actually have runny tummy, they have diarrhea, so they'll constantly just go to the toilet because they're worried about what is going to happen. There are some people who actually have dizzy spells. But for somebody to have these symptoms recurring over and over again, remember, having a mental disorder, it means your daily life is actually disrupted. So imagine somebody facing all this each and every day, because they cannot deal with what is actually happening to them as a person. They cannot deal with life, because everything is a worry to them. So that's why I normally say sometimes it's nice to be kind, because it doesn't kill to actually be kind to people when you see somebody going through something. Then
I remember myself. I was just gonna say, I remember myself as a child. I used to get anxious a lot when, especially when I was playing. I would be playing those hide and seek and stuff. But after hiding for a while, my tummy always went funny, always went funny. And because you are hiding and you're maybe miles away from home, you don't have the time to get to where you need to relieve yourself. So it used to be a bad thing for me, that you end up not enjoying the game anymore, because every time you played it, you felt anxious. For me, I always felt anxious when I was hiding. Tena ukiwa mwisho mwisho kupatikana, hiyo sunway.
The worst,
it used to be a thing for me. I couldn't do it for too long. So I like the way you're saying this, because we need to be aware of these things. Our kids, sometimes they communicate to us and they tell us something. You could be having a guest at home and they're not comfortable with that guest. Naona shindaga na huyo mgeni, mtoto anakuambia na mwana tumbo, sijui I've got butterflies, sijui una ignore. They're trying to tell you something, they don't know how to articulate, and that's why they say they've got a bad tummy.
Exactly, it's true. Because again, anxiety for kids, for adults, at least an adult can express themselves, another can be able to say feeling and things like that. But with kids, it's sometimes difficult for them to explain exactly how they're feeling. For example, if they're having a fast heartbeat, they cannot explain to you, I'm actually having a fast heartbeat. All they can say is, I'm feeling pain on my chest. And you as an adult, when your child keeps on telling you every time, I'm feeling pain on my chest, it sounds sometimes maybe they're about to actually, maybe the first day in school, or as you say, there's a visitor that always comes in and the child is not comfortable.
Don't like that.
But you always just assume, usijali, don't worry about it. You're going to get.
Don't worry about it.
Actually, that child is actually trying to tell you that they are actually having something going on and they can't control it, or they don't know what to do to actually stop it. So it's just for us to be able to know these signs and react accordingly in regards to what anxiety is and how wide anxiety can actually impact somebody's life.
For us adults, like you said, we can articulate, or you understand yourself, you know your character, you know the kind of person you are, you don't like social gatherings, they make you anxious and nervous and whatever. So you don't go there, or you find ways of dealing with it. But a kid might be the same. They don't like social gathering, but you as a parent, you're insisting, oh, kuna party. What kid doesn't like a party? Kuna party. Nenda mtoto anajaribu kuambia they don't want to go, they're trying to tell you how they're feeling at that time, but tunakatanga kusikia. That's why I like it when we start such discussion. We learn. I don't know whether Yvette you have any questions in that regard.
Mine was on overthinking. I don't know where overthinkers also fall under this category of anxiety, because overthinking is basically creating scenarios in your head. So is that under anxiety? And many adults have this going on, the overthinking.
I can put the overthinking part of it, part of the next one, the obsessive compulsive disorder, which is OCD.
Okay.
And we make fun of people so far when somebody says that I have OCD, but they don't realize the extent of actually having OCD. Because a person who's having OCD, as you say, they overthink. But if you look at it, really, it's not overthinking it. They cannot, a normal person will always say, let's say there is, I'm having guests coming in tomorrow. That's easy. You'll be like, okay, I know what I'm going to cook. I'm going to cook for them this and this. I'm going to buy them these drinks because I know. Somebody with an OCD will start thinking, how will these people think of my house? How will these people think of my food? How are these people going to come? That place is dirty. That needs to be moved. So they are overthinking. To us, normal people will say they are overthinking, but to them, that is their normal thinking.
Think for them, absolutely. Yeah. And the more you tell them they're overthinking, the more they will overthink it.
Correct. Yes. Because a normal human mind can actually articulate and say, 10 people are coming, that's what they're going to eat, and this is what's going to do. You can even just write it down and you have it there and you know. You finish with it and then your mind goes to something else. Somebody with OCD, they will sit on there. They can write that list and write it again and again and again and again, and they can still not be satisfied with it. And if you
break that cycle for them, they'll have to start it all over again. You better let them go through the motions. Yeah, let them go through the motions and just be there to support it. It's just like panic attack. A lot of us, when we have a friend who has panic attack, I know of somebody who never flew ever. They couldn't fly at all. And, at that time, you kind of understand these things, but you don't. And you're thinking, you can't reason with that person and tell them, no, you're just overthinking it. The plane's not going to fall. You can't reason with them when they're losing their breath and they're you're just trying to relax. To them, it's hard. It's hard to process all that information. Yeah, and they say there's in the history of being told to relax, nobody has ever been relaxed by just being told to relax. The more you tell somebody that, the more you're just making them. So yeah, it's actually cool.
It's difficult. Just say that again, sorry, Nicole. I didn't hear that.
Sorry again.
Just say that again. I didn't hear what you just said.
No, I'll just tell you to go ahead, because you did have a lot to serve. And
with the obsessive compulsive disorder, so we have fear of contamination or doubt, doubting and having difficulty tolerating uncertainty. Now, what we've just been talking about, and then needing things orderly and symmetrical. So here, I would like to clarify some things. Some people always say, like, I am a perfectionist, but I do not have OCD, because being a perfectionist, I can be able to say, I want this to happen this way at this time, this way, and then I can move on out of it. Somebody with OCD, there where the symmetrical things come in, let's say they want 3 things, they would always want everything to be in 3s. If they are in 2s, that bothers them to an extent that they cannot sit. So if it's bottle of water, they have to be 3 bottles of water. If it, let's say, a pen, they have to be 3 pens. And it's not only them arranging those pens specifically or in a different or a specific way. They have to be numerically symmetrical, and they also have to be in a number of a certain way. So we have people with OCD, or again, some things that it's really unfortunate, because some people with OCD, they cannot even leave their houses, especially now when we have COVID.
Yeah, those are really extreme, so sad. And there's this other one, that's the repetitive one. Sometimes it's being confused by OCD. It's different, isn't it? Where they have to do things repetitively the same way.
The same way.
That is OCD.
It's a form of OCD.
It is OCD because it's an obsessive compulsory disorder. Because they are obsessed to do that, and it is compulsory to them to actually do that. Otherwise, they cannot do anything else. So you will see they keep on doing that, and they think, because like a good example now, the way we have COVID, people with OCD already, they could not stand like viruses and that. And now imagine going outside there, we only have our jobs, but with them, that's still not enough. So if you're seeing somebody walking outside with a hazmat suit, you can laugh about it, but actually maybe that person actually is suffering from obsessive compulsory disorder because they feel, I don't want to be sick. The main reason why I don't want to be sick is because the virus is everywhere. Because I was watching something, actually, these people actually they use bleach. You find somebody using bleach to an extent that the bleach is burning their body.
Yeah,
But
I've
because
seen that before. There was a
they
documentary
I've
about
seen
a
stop,
lady
that.
who had bleached
yes,
her skin completely because she'd use bleach and she'll do it repetitively as well. She had a routine that she had to do
correct.
the routine. And if you break that routine for her, she had to do it again. And then she ended up not having any friends because you'd bring germs to her house. She doesn't want to have
Correct.
germs. And she
Correct.
ended
Mm,
up excluding herself from the society completely. So sad. So
Yeah, it
sad.
is. It is actually a very serious thing, and it's a sad thing because many people actually don't live a normal life, and
No.
because of these things that are actually making them not be able to live normally because they are anxious every time, with their possessiveness of doing things frequently at a certain way at a certain time, and it's difficult for them, for people with actually OCD, to live a normal life and to continue being, because just imagine you already have your OCD, you're always anxious, in you're worried about what's happening tomorrow, you already feeling you're sweaty and you're feeling dizzy spell. It's something that is stopping you from actually living your normal life, because that is anxiety in general, because you find some people have these three things. They have the GAD, they have the SAD, and they have the OCD. One person having all that together, that person cannot really live a normal life, because most of
mm,
those people, they actually isolate themselves, permanently isolate themselves. But the
Yeah.
good news is they're trying to bring in, there's a treatment for it. So there's either medication, then there's different kind of therapies
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
people can actually use. So in case
Yeah.
somebody is having all these things we are talking about, you're not alone. You need to talk about it with people, and
And get
somebody out
some
there
help.
can be able to support you,
Yeah.
because there are so many ways of actually getting support with this issue. So it's not like something you feel or embarrassed about, because
Yeah.
with the society stigma, many people suffering from all these mental issues or disorders, they
Yeah.
feel that they cannot talk about it because somebody's
mm,
going
Yeah.
to look at them funny.
Yeah.
Don't feel that you're in this alone if you're
Save
actually
yourself. Save
feeling.
yourself. At the end of the day, or I say
true.
that some of these things stem from instability. There's something that's happening in your brain, and it's find a way to seep out to tell you that there's something wrong, that something needs to be sorted. So when you become OCD, there's something that caused it. What is that caused it? So getting
Mm,
that expert help does help for you to start your journey to healing. Yvette, I know you are held up today and you might want to
yes.
express yourself.
Yeah, it's time for me to leave. So guys, I'll watch this much later. But yes, I've got to leave you guys. And yeah, this is nice. This is nice. So our
Absolutely
audience,
right.
it's been nice. Yeah, and I'll see you, our audience, on Monday. But yeah, I'm definitely going to watch this, and as I get time, I'll
Yeah,
also
there will be
be,
some notes. There
asking
will be some
questions
notes.
and commenting. Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
still together in spirit.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Yvette, for
much,
trying to
Yvette.
make it
You're very
anyway.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Thanks,
You don't have the
ladies.
time to
So
get to where you need to relieve yourself. So it used
Yeah.
to be a tough thing
Sorry.
for me that you end up not enjoying the game anymore because every time you play Yvette, bye for now. I'll take you off. Those feedback.
okay,
Yeah.
sawa
Okay.
sawa.
Bye. Thank you for
Bye,
trying and making it this
ladies.
time.
Thank you, guys.
Mwah. See you in a bit. Yeah, so I do know of somebody, this is an actual story and not made up or anything, who ended up with muscle wasting. And what happened is they started isolating themselves like that, feeling like the world is cruel, there's so many bad things happening in the world, and they just didn't want the whole that, they didn't want to be part of it. So they started making their own life within their own house, And the more they did that, the more they stopped using their bodies, and they started not being able to do everyday chores, and they ended up with muscle wasting because they stopped walking, they stopped going. They didn't like the whole concept of what the world is, and they're obsessed with how the world works, how cruel the world is, and how what. And so they stayed indoors. They stopped doing any any activity, and they ended up with muscle wasting because they didn't have, they didn't seek help. And now what happens is now they need people's help to go
Yeah.
through their daily life. Now the jumps you're trying to avoid has ended up coming to your home. And for
Yes.
you to see her, you had to, all the support workers and people who could, I was trying to support her through her new life now, they had to wear all these white gloves, but they were not this latex type made of cloth. You wear it, you take vinegar, clean the door handle. You take vinegar, clean the door handle, wear the gloves, yeah, the white gloves as you enter to see her and stuff. And then I don't know, there's a place you need to take it off and have it washed before you leave. Then do the procedure again of vinegar and stuff before you
And
leave.
so
Yeah,
basically
so people
it
do need
became
help.
toxic. It became toxic basically to herself because of her condition.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Oh,
Such
that's
a
very
young life wasted. Such a young life wasted just because they didn't go out for help and stuff. So yeah, my darling, we were on the term common mental illness. We've done anxiety.
we've
We've
done
done
anxiety,
OCD,
we've done also
and
done depression.
yeah, the sad. And now, what else are we on?
So the
What else?
next one we're going to look at is personality disorder. A personality disorder is a type of mental disorder in which you have a rigid and unhealthy pattern of thinking, functioning, and behaving. A person with personality disorder has trouble perceiving and relating to situation and people. Some symptoms for that is impulsive and risky behavior, such as having unsafe sex, gambling, or binge eating. So when you see people actually gambling, and you think that why doesn't that person stop gambling? It's not only them having an addiction of gambling. Unfortunately, that can actually be part of a disorder that person is actually going through. And then we have unstable or fragile self-image. So these people will always be thinking either I am too fat, I am too thin, I don't like looking like that, my nose says something, my ears are not looking. They always have something bad to say about themselves.
Yeah.
Unstable and intense relationship. So if they love you as if it's the end of the world. They're not also the people when somebody tells you you're my
That's really good.
oxygen, they are literally you're my oxygen, because
It's-
they feel anxious leaving you and
mm,
going to somebody else. But again, that is just a form of a disability, of oh sorry, not a disability, sorry, a mental illness, where they are feeling that they belong to that person belongs to them. So they become
mm.
obsessive, almost like. Ups and down moods, often a reaction to interpersonal stress, suicidal behavior or threat of self-injury, explosive anger, chronic feeling of emptiness. So as you can
Mhm.
see, most of these disorders, their symptoms are almost exactly the same. Or I can say,
Yeah, and they sound exactly the same, almost the same for a social part, because they get really obsessed with you and
yeah,
they kind of want to control you and be with you, and you literally are the oxygen. And I like that we talk about such things. It's important for us to be aware of such things because we are in relationship with such people. Oh, they are part of our families. They are part of the society. But if we
yeah,
understand some things, then we know how to deal with them differently. So this person who like claims that you are their oxygen, when you discover that they literally mean it, you have to be really careful. This is when,
correct.
if you have to leave them, you have to be really careful. And staying is also dangerous for you. You have to be careful because you
Correct.
can be abused and you stay on because you don't want to hurt them. You are their oxygen. And then the other bad part is where it reaches a point where you're also addicted or you are dependent on that, on their being how they are. So
Oh,
you
they
also
are.
can't leave, yeah, you also can't leave that relationship that you're being abused, because you're addicted to it. That's how you know. That's what you think love is. Because maybe after you've done all those crazy things, then you make up and make love. And then you think that
Yeah,
is how it's supposed to be. You think it's
correct.
healthy, but abusive.
Because unfortunately, or the saddest part is with a personality disorder, you can find that two people who are actually having that disorder are ending up together, or if not like that,
Both.
somebody who can
And
actually somebody who
it works, or sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
exactly, or somebody who actually is a narcissist actually. A
Mm,
narcissist actually has a personality disorder because
mm,
they take that grandiose of them being
mm.
the possessive. They're the ones who should actually dictate what you do, how you do it, when you do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So a narcissist actually, and even a psychopath, as you say, those are also like part of personality disorders, if you can just put them inside in here, because they are
Mm,
traits that actually people actually have. Some of them
mm.
apparently are born with them, but that's a story for another day. But
I
again,
know.
with personality disorder, as we've just broken it down there are people who actually have it, and unfortunately some of them become really abusive because
Mm,
they believe that they are the dominant one and they run that relationship, and that relationship should actually go the way. The
mm.
sad part is most of these
I
mental
think some of them also, sorry, I think some of them become abusive as well when you start maybe pointing out the weaknesses or pointing out some stuff and they don't like that, or you start reflecting something about them that they don't like, or, that's when they start becoming abusive, or those attempts of leaving them. And they don't want those kind of threats where there's a possibility that you can live without them. Because first they make sure that they make you believe that you can't live without them. But once you start believing in yourself and loving yourself, or being friends with people who help you do that, they hate those friends and they ensure that that friendship doesn't develop, so that you're just theirs. You can't be with
correct.
anybody else.
Yeah, and
Can't be
what
with
you
anybody
just
else.
actually said is part of the symptoms there: explosive anger, and then
Mm,
threats of self-injury or suicidal behavior. So you feel like these are kind of people, they will always threaten their partners or the person who they are with, or
mm.
I'll kill myself, or maybe they'll be cutting down their wrists to make this person not leave them. And if in case this person leaves
Yeah.
them, most of these people actually suffer from emptiness in a way that it's beyond being lonely. You feel worthless completely, and that's
Mm,
normally the saddest part about personality disorder, because when you feel you have the chronic feeling of emptiness, or you're
mm.
feeling lonely to an extent, you feel that you do not want anybody to be with you, the only
But
option most of the
post
time these
that.
people have is they always commit suicide, which is normally the
Mm.
saddest. But again, there's different treatment for this. So it's a way of just talking about it to either your GPs or to your health facilities, and you will definitely get support for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant, brilliant. I don't know, our audience are really quiet today. I can see people are on, but they're so quiet. Come on, join us with this discussion. We are learning together. We're learning together. It's so amazing. We are all doing the common mental health illnesses, and
yeah.
we've done a few. So say hello, say hello, say hello. Tell us where you're joining from. Help us. Come on. Yeah, go on, Scotch. Go on,
Okay,
Scott. You were so geared with your topic.
so so
You were like
another one
flying.
which is
Yeah.
very interesting is ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is one of the most common neurodevelopment disorder of childhood. It's
Yeah.
usually first diagnosed in childhood and often lasts into adulthood. Children with ADHD may have trouble paying attention, controlling impulsive behavior, may act without thinking about what the result will be, or be overly active, being unable to sit still, especially in a calm or a quiet surrounding,
Mm,
constantly fidgeting, being
mm,
unable to concentrate on tasks, excessive physical movement, excessive talking, being unable to wait their turn, I've talked about acting, and then interrupting conversation. And again, ADHD, we find, to me, I see a lot of children having that, but many people stigmatize children who have ADHD. But we need to remember that a child can have ADHD, but they can be not the cleverest. How can I put it? They can be that child who can actually do for you maths or do for you some science things in a way that you are shocked yourself. They can be that child who's actually performing the best out of all the best. So it's not just a disorder where, because they are different, there are some who are actually extremely where they cannot do anything, where they need support, and there are those ones who actually definitely they need support, but actually they become very, very interesting people in life, just even better, sometimes even better than a normal human being. So again, it's a part of stigma. We have this stigma where we just assume if a child has ADHD, we're just assuming that child is useless or that child cannot do anything.
Yeah. For me, I find it conflicting for me because I was more of the hyper side. And I wonder whether if I grew up in a different environment, whether I would have been told that, you know what, okay, she's hyperactive or whatever. I always wondered that. But what confuses me, and there's that conflict in me, is that, yes, there are some kids that are hyperactive, but they're not necessarily ill or so. They're just full of beings. They're just full of energy. They don't need medication. They're just okay. Understand them as they are and just support them as they are. Just understand they need to release that energy. I'll use an example of a dog. Just like dogs, they have to go out and run and release some of that energy. If they don't, when they come back, they'll be a nuisance. So just let them release that energy. So that's conflicting for me. I just think like nowadays, every child that goes out, the doctor goes like, oh, ADHD, ADHD. Sometimes that's why it's conflicting. But where I've seen a child has support and it's been recognized, that it's so amazing. You see them integrating so well. They don't have to go through our modern system or mainstream system where they have to sit in school the whole period and do exam like everybody else. There's a system in place for them to support them so that they don't feel they can still do the exams, they can still learn, but in their own special way. And you see them flourishing, you see them being really nice people, really nice people. So yeah, for me it's conflicting. Karibu, Karibu. I don't know who that is. Asante. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, Scott, what do you think about that? When you nowadays it's like all kids are being told like, okay, you have ADHD.
Because with ADHD, as I've said, there are things that you cannot just pinpoint and say they don't have it. That's why these days, actually, we have a lot of kids with ADHD and they're in mainstream. They are learning like any other child. They
Like everybody else.
extra support in a way. Maybe have a teaching assistant there with them and they can actually go to classes normal and they try to integrate. It's just a matter of the triggers. What actually triggers them to react the way they're reacting is actually
they do have lots of triggers. You got to be really careful with them.
Very careful.
Yeah.
Because you find that there's some of them are affected by, let's say, noise. Some of them because some of them just like rocking. And if you think about it, not as I call it normal, really, when you see somebody who keeps on rocking, some people get irritated about it. But you realize some people who have ADHD and they actually keep on rocking. That's why you see they're always fidgeting. They're fidgeting not because they're enjoying fidgeting. They're fidgeting because that's their norm. Again, another thing, because because normally they say it's an extra chromosome in your body and it adds extra stuff. So that's the scientific part of it, which I'm sure our viewers can actually do a little bit of research and understand the scientific part of the ADHD better. But again, we find that there are these people with ADHD Some of them struggle talking properly. Some of them can actually talk properly. And all you can actually realize there's something wrong with them is, one, they cannot look at you directly. They're always
They
avoiding
don't.
eye contact. They're
They
always
don't. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
again, another thing that you can see somebody who looks really normal is, again, the way I've said, they'll be rocking, and that's what is going to tell you that, oh,
Or
there's
if they
something
have some
wrong.
cloth, like you're saying, the fidgeting, they'll keep on you. They keep on doing something with it. They want to be
Correct.
doing something. Yeah.
Or again, you can maybe see them having like headphones on, but again, we have so many kids
The
who are
headphone
actually,
ones, I think they're
yes,
sensitive to noise as well. There's
correct,
some that are super sensitive to noise.
yes,
Yeah.
sensitive to noise. So something that you can just imagine that maybe people just talking, you think that is normal to them. No, it's not normal. It's affecting them, because the way we are with a normal person, you can actually talk and listen to the surrounding that's happening to you, and it's just okay. But with them, they need things individually rather than
Mm,
things all together, and that's why you
mm,
see maybe they get those headphones because it suits them. They don't get to hear the other noises that are happening around
mm,
them, and that's better for
yeah.
them. um
Yeah.
so we find different types of ADHD.
Different
Actually,
type. I know autistic kids. Usually they can't understand our emotions. They do feel empathy and stuff. A lot of people think they don't feel
correct.
empathy. They do feel empathy and stuff, but they don't understand human emotion. So if you try things like sarcasm to them, the things that we normally tell other kids, like our parents, how we grew up, your parents will be like, "Oh, atakwambia nichukulie lete kikombe ya maji," and then you start asking kikombe gani, atakwambia ile ya mabati. As we understood, it was sarcasm. As we understood, our parents were just mean people. But if you try, walikuwa na majibu, oh my God, you have to go and figure that out. You have
You
to go
have
and
to
figure
go
that out.
and figure that out. But now you see, you have to remember, attention deficit hypersensitive disorder is not autism.
It's not autism.
No, autism is a completely different disorder.
So you've put it as a different one.
Yes, autism is
You are
completely
coming to
different.
it. So
Yes,
they do
when you
share the
come to
fidgeting
it,
thing.
I'm actually just going, I'm trying to see if I can. So autism spectrum disorder is, so ACD is autism spectrum disorder. Hyper ADHD is different because that's more hyperness.
So you can be
Autism,
hyperactive and you can be, what is the opposite of it? When you're not active at all. So what is that?
when you're not active at all.
The kids that are just what's the word? There's a word for it. I can't remember what it was. So it's none of those categories.
No, because those are 2D, and that's where people always get confused.
The,
But
yeah, the
again,
spectrum. You can be on this end of the spectrum or that end.
or the
So
other
that's
end
like,
of the spectrum, yeah.
yeah,
Personally, I've never seen somebody who has both, but maybe there are people who actually have
mm,
ASD and ADHD. Yep, it's like they're two different things, because autism spectrum disorder is a development
yeah,
disability that can cause significant social, communication, behavioral challenges. There is often nothing about how people with ASD look that
yeah,
sets apart from other people, but people
yeah,
with ASD may communicate, interact, behave, and learn
yeah,
in ways that are different from most other people. The learning, thinking, and problem solving ability of people with ASD
um,
can range from gifted to severe challenge. Some people with ASD need a lot of help in their daily lives, others
yeah.
need less. Yeah. So the other one is hypersensitive. Some of the things like the contact
Yeah,
rocking,
rocking.
yeah,
Mm,
that's
mm.
rocking. Both of them actually do. They cannot. Some of them don't actually
Both of
say.
them, yeah, I think that's why, yeah, both of
Yeah,
them do them. Okay.
both of
Yeah,
them do that. But you realize with ASD, we have repetitive behaviors like hand flapping. Yeah, they're
yeah,
always
yeah, yeah. I've seen that. Oh, it's super cute. I
they're
love it.
either rocking, or they are jumping. They're always jumping, or they are twirling. They are going round and round. Um, what are the other thing they actually do? They can always be humming. And again,
Oh,
people with autism, the way it explains to you, many people differentiate them. Will see somebody with autism because you can see it physically that they have autism because of either their facial features or their body features, things like that. But the other disability, when somebody is ADHD, when they have the hyperactive disorder, sometimes you can't even see.
you can't tell.
You
They're
can't
just like
tell.
normal, but super
Yes,
energetic.
correct. So
Autistic, you can easily tell because most of the time they really avoid facial contact. Immediately you see them like
correct.
looking away. They can't do eye to eye completely.
Yes.
But
And
yeah,
again, they also have specific rituals, and they have like they have to be in a routine with people with autistic spectrum disorder. They always have to be in a
mm,
routine. But again,
yeah,
those
they don't
routines
like
are good for
change.
them.
They don't like
No,
change. They can't do change at all.
they
Yeah.
can't do.
Hi everybody, Asanteni for joining. I'm seeing somebody's here. Sorry for joining. Like, don't be sorry. We have lives to live. Supporter of Scotch Kitchen. Woo, woo. We are here learning and learning with Scotch Kitchen. Do share your own stories and experiences. We are learning these things because it's really important. Information is powerful.
Correct.
Information used, and we're learning these things because we have children or we'll have children. We have cousins, we have nephews, we have nieces. We need to learn this. We have brothers, we have sisters. You need to understand, why is your brother like this? Why is your sister like this? Why is my niece like this? You need to understand because kids are different, people are different. You can't go assuming that kid is naughty. They are not necessarily naughty. If you
Mhm.
understand where they're coming from, you treat it differently and they'll adjust differently. Like Scott is saying, now most kids, special kids, they go to mainstream schools because the support, we understand it a lot more, and the support system is in place for them to be able to go to normal schools with every other kid. So information is powerful. I'm so glad about this. Scotch, hebu kunywa maji tujaze ma information. Usiishiwe na mate anza kusema Nicole umenimalizia mate. So
Nimekunywa.
actually, but I'm not. I doesn't mean I have ADHD. Maybe I think ningezaliwa huku hivi Ulaya.
Ungekuwa na
Maybe
ADHD.
PE was my favorite subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, PE was my favorite subject. Okay, maths and PE, but PE, oh God knows PE. When all the girls were, when I was like wakianza to bloom and stuff, and all the girls were becoming curvy and they don't want to play
You'll be
outside, all those
busy.
things. Eh?
You'll be busy
Wakianza
jumping up and down.
mimi sasa hata hataki kwenda PE, ati sijui bado watu wako mimi nangojanga hiyo kengele ya PE kama naweza na niko high school. Hey, when everybody else come to we're too old for that. Hey, let's play. Let's play. We're in school because we're still young. Watu wacheze.
Kamisa, but that is true. Because again, like in Kenya, I think now is when we are actually getting into terms and understanding these
Yeah.
mental illnesses or mental disorders
Yeah.
more, and which is good because again, if you remember when you were growing up, you rarely saw kids with any disability because their parents used to hide them or they
They were being hidden. Yeah, that's really true. And the
you
rest were
will
either
never.
naughty or not clever. Kama ulikuwa a slow learner, ati wewe wanga
Yes.
mjinga wa class, unashindaga tu vitu moja and stuff. We don't understand that you need special support for that
Yeah.
kind of situation. So it's good that now we are more aware. We are realizing
We are
that we have
more aware. It's actually a big learning curve because now people are even like, if you look on Facebook, you see people actually are confident enough. They tell you the life of their children with different mental disabilities and they talk about it. And I think that's really good because people are now aware that that is actually part of the norm.
Yeah.
Whether you want to accept it or not accept it, it's the norm. This children or these human beings are there in our lives, and we should always treat them the way we like ourselves to be treated. Because it's not
Absolutely.
that they don't deserve to be here, they definitely deserve to be here, but we other people who term ourselves as normal, we
No
need
more.
to find a way to
To,
accommodate everybody and
mm,
understand that
mm,
it doesn't matter how you were born or how your daily
mm.
life is, you also deserve to be heard, to be seen,
Loved,
to
happy,
be
interact,
loved.
socialize,
Exactly.
whatever. Play. This is
Exactly.
a true story. I've shared it before. I've not made it up. It's a really true story. I had a friend that I'd been friends with for years, and I knew like all of her family, all of them, as far as I was concerned. You know why? Even the mom. You visit them, and then your parents are the ones that meet in town and chat forever. Unajua wale parents wanakutanga na town, alafu my story, and then pia nyinyi mnapiga my story. So we
Yeah.
knew each other's family, but it took adulthood to know that they had a sister in between that nobody ever met. I accidentally bumped into that one day. We are coming from college, and we're going to theirs, and um, we opened the door, and the first thing that we made was somebody I'd never known before. And then she panicked. She tried to like hide, do all those things that they need to do, the emotions, if I may call them that. And it was really confusing for me because I didn't understand and I couldn't bring it up because I realized, that you are not meant to see this. You are not meant
You're
to
not
know this.
meant to say it.
So
Exactly.
don't
Those are
ask.
the things that
Yeah,
used to
so don't
happen
ask.
before you
But I feel
had.
so sorry for them, and I feel so sorry. I'm sharing a story, and it's not to judge or anything. I feel sorry because we never had information, and nobody wanted to have that sister who was different. Nobody wanted that in the family. You didn't want to
Exactly.
be known, to be labeled as the people who are that special person in the family. And then people who come from like Mombasa setting, if you had a special kid in your family, people will start saying, "Oh, mmeshika madawa, sijui mmerogwa, sijui," there was all these things that ati sijui mnafuga jini, because
Mhm.
in Mombasa it used to be a thing. If you have a
Yes.
special kid, and then if you have a special kid and you have some money, the stigma is even higher because mnaambiwa hapo ndo wamefuga jini yao,
Yes.
so you can understand why they had to do that. But
Yeah.
now we are aware. Haya, umekunywa
Now it's
maji.
good. We are much aware that these things are there. It was unfortunate, like we grew up like not understanding this, but at least now this is an opportunity for us to teach our children. Because again, if you teach your child to realize everybody deserve to be treated exactly the same, that our generation is making it better for the next generation, which is our children. So with them, they're going to grow up and understanding that all these human beings, whether disabled or not disabled, but again, they are able, they're not able-bodied, they are also deserving to be in this world. Because being able-bodied basically doesn't stop you from doing anything you want to as an individual. You can still live, you can be loved, you can love, you can do
Mm,
anything that you want. And that's what we need to
yeah,
actually preach to our children, and just make everybody aware of what is actually happening in the world.
yeah,
So,
absolutely, absolutely.
just to summarize the ASD, so autistic
Mm,
syndrome disorder or
mm,
spectrum
mm,
disorder, people with
mm,
ASD often have problem with social, emotional, and communication skill.
mm.
They might repeat certain behaviors and might not want to change in their daily activity. That's what we talked about, right?
Yeah,
Many
yeah.
people with ASD also have different ways of learning, paying
Mm,
attention, or reacting to things.
mm,
Signs of ASD begin during early childhood and typically last throughout a person's life.
mm.
So as you can see with ASD, somebody will always, you not have a child with ASD and say that, oh, tomorrow they will wake up a different person. No, this is something
Yeah.
that they're going to live with, and it's just a
Mm,
matter of finding a better way for them to actually live with it, because there is
yeah.
so much out there where there is support. Apart from support, there is
Mm,
therapies, there is
mm.
behavioral analysis, there's learning things,
There's
there's so much
absolutely
out there to
everything.
actually support.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just last year or yeah, previous year, I was in this special college, and I'd seen all sorts of special cases of these children. And there's things that you can't even imagine exist, but they do exist. They do
Correct.
exist. Yeah, from equipment to the therapy or counselors or teachers or whatever, all sorts of things. And then, like technology, where we are at now, it's really helping. Most of these kids are living a normal life. I used to say, I don't want maisha mazuri hata kuniliko. The gadgets they had,
It's true.
the gadgets they had, the things they had, they're so well equipped. Kuna hizo
Yeah.
speech therapy, which is now so common because it's not still totally new. There is,
Yeah.
I don't know, a hydrotherapist, I don't know, speech therapist, I don't know, animal, I don't know, pet therapy. There is all sorts of things to help these people live a normal life. So if you don't have the tools, I believe it's just starting from somewhere. And just like you're saying, be informed and learn more and see
Yeah.
what's some of the things you can start. Music, just listening to maybe calming music. If the kid is hyper, to start that day, making sure you have the same routines. If the kid doesn't like changes, just being more aware. Yeah.
Because the first thing you do, you get help. You get a professional help for you to understand exactly where your child or your sister, your brother, your cousin, your friend has. Then with that, they can be able to write for you or to explain to you what you need to
Mm.
do to be able to make that person's life much better
Mm.
than the way it is. So
Yeah.
please don't
Get help.
take
Usiende
one year.
Kilimani kule kuuliza. Watu unaonaenda Kilimani kule utatukanwa tu. If you go,
Exactly.
that's the wrong
Exactly.
forum to ask about such things. What
Yes.
else do you expect from there? Just not to diss it that much, but you ask in the right forums. If you're looking for professional help and you don't have it in your area, you're not aware of it, ask in the right forums. Always end up placing you're about to just vituko and start asking, oh, how do I deal with my child who has this? Yeah.
And
Get,
again, I will just advise people just avoid Facebook doctors. There's so many doctors in Facebook. Avoid them. They don't have an idea. They are not you. They don't know what you're going through. They don't know what the person you want information for
no.
is going through.
And they
Seek
have their own
actual
problems too anyway. So they're just they're
exactly.
releasing.
Seek actual medical help. Ask the right people. We have community centers, we have healthcare centers, we have churches. But again, with the churches, some churches are just special in their own way. But again, just keep on going there and asking. You will be surprised because, again, these days we have Google. Just type it in Google, and it can even direct you to a support group, an actual proper support group. It can direct you to an actual healthcare facility. It can direct you to an actual, maybe somebody in your community who's actually doing that, a nurse, a therapist, who understands what actually that
Yeah.
person is actually
Yeah.
undergoing.
Like the college I was at, they used to have like what are they called? A program, like exchange program kind of thing with
Yes.
Kenya, Kisumu, and a lot of the staff that actually came from Kisumu. So you might find something that is offering some grants or some free information. You don't know what you bump into, just go and accept your situation and there'll be help out there. The universe and God and creation is on your side. It created that for a reason. It allowed it to happen in your life for a reason. Once you accept it and warm up to the idea that this is my challenge, this is for me, you'll find help. There'll be things there. There'll be things there. Equal.
Exactly. Exactly.
Equal.
Actually, I'm going to go through the last one really, really quick because Nicole, we're getting out of time, really. So
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to
Thank
do
you.
this one is going to be the last one. I'm going to just summarize it really quick. Again, we can have an opportunity maybe you can actually Google it further and find out more information, which is an actual disorder. And unfortunately, so many people go through it, is the eating disorder. Eating disorders
Oh
are
yeah.
of
Yeah.
psychological conditions that cause unhealthy eating habits. To
Mm,
develop, they might start with an obsession with food, body weight,
mm,
or body shape. In severe cases, eating disorders can cause serious health consequences and may even result in death if left
mm,
untreated. Those with
mm,
eating disorders can have a variety of symptoms. However, most include the severe restriction of food, food binges, or purging behaviors like vomiting or over exercising. Although eating disorder can affect people of any gender at any life stage, they are most reported in adolescent and young women.
The what?
It's with the eating disorder, it
Yeah.
mainly affects adolescents. So when I say adolescent,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
between
yeah, yeah,
ages of actually now it has
yeah,
actually
yeah.
gone
It
down
does.
with the
Yeah.
age of I think 12
Mm.
years to
When they're
about
transitioning
30.
and they're aware of their bodies and their friends and what their friends
Correct.
say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Between the age of 12 years and 30, we have so many things going online in regards to a body image. Like these days, we have a lot of things that is showing the way.
The
A
couch
woman
coming out.
is curvy, and no, everybody has different body shapes. We have people who are figure eight, we have those people who have apple shape, we have those people who have like sort of a triangular shape. There's so many different shapes, and unfortunately, our young ones basically they dwell in those social media so much to an
Yeah.
extent now you actually start finding
Yeah.
peace or finding
Yeah.
solace in what you see. And now with the
Yeah.
eating
And now
disorder,
the body this is called what dysmorphia or something has become so common, and that's what is also causing the disorder. So you end up in this vicious cycle of looking at yourself in the mirror, not liking that it doesn't look like the Insta model, and then you end up not eating or making yourself sick and stuff like that. And it's really
yes,
sad. It's really sad.
they are
Social media is not
because
helping.
with the eating disorder we have anorexia, naphosa, bulimia,
Mm,
binge
mm,
eating disorder, pica, rumination disorder, and then we have a last one which is avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. So if you
mm,
realize all these six have
mm.
different names, meaning they affect people differently, because with the eating disorder we have those people who eat and make themselves sick. We don't have those
The
people who don't
bulimic.
eat at all. We have those people
Mm,
who eat specific things. We have
yeah,
those people
I
who
know, great.
over actually eat.
Mm,
And we have those people who actually just look at the food and they imagine how sweet that food is and they don't eat at all. So if
almost
you
like a phobia for them.
yes, exactly. It's a type of disorder where it's affecting so many people. But
Yeah,
again, as I said earlier, you need to
there's
seek
a
for help.
child. KJ would have reminded me this thing. I think he lost his sight or something for eating one type of food.
Correct.
I think it was chips. He only ate chips. It didn't happen a long time ago, maybe about a year or two ago, and the child just lost his eyesight because he wasn't eating any other foods. He was just feeding on chips. Imagine.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
The
they
good
never got that.
is
I wonder, did the parents think at some point this is not usual, that he doesn't want to eat other foods? And
but the
it's
thing
really
is,
crazy.
as a parent you also struggle a lot, and that's why we ask people to
The
always seek
help, the professional
medical
help.
help. You have to seek for medical help, because with
Yeah.
specific eating disorder, the best
Mm,
therapy is normally how do you call it again, the person is being hosted somewhere, so it's like a living thing. You
mm,
leave your normal environment and you act residential like therapy. And the good thing with the residential therapy, this person is actually supported not only emotionally and physically, psychologically. They help
mm.
them all round. And mainly these people, it's almost like somebody who's alcoholic when they actually go to the
Yeah.
center. It's sort of like a rehab center, but it is a disorder, a residential
Yeah, they have the
therapy
help.
where
Yeah.
eating disorder people have. And with
Mm,
there, they actually support people. But here you have to realize with this type of disorder, somebody has to accept they actually have that disorder first.
mm,
If to them they are seeing that they are not having that disorder, it's
mm,
difficult for them to actually get help. Or even if it is a
yeah.
child, it's difficult for the parents to actually get help for that child because that child believes that they are okay, even though they are
Yeah.
not okay.
And
Which this
sometimes
is
it goes to adult too. Like you see the ones that
correct.
like can't stop eating, and then they also end up having their own new vicious cycle from how, because they feel sad that they are sad, then they eat because they're sad, so they eat to make them feel good. Then they are guilty for eating, so they're sad that they ate, so they have to eat because they're sad. And then they are in this vicious cycle that's never ending. But it's very important to work. That's why it's good to work on emotions and to talk to our children and
Yeah,
allow them to work on their emotions, allow them to have stress, allow them because they have stress. This really annoys me. The fact that we assume that's how we were brought up. The fact that our parents used to assume that we don't get stressed, and so you couldn't talk to them. You couldn't tell your parents things. Kids get stressed. They have their own stresses. Their body is changing. They are aware of it. They're probably not liking it or they're loving it or whatever that is stressing them. Maybe they're comparing themselves to their friend. It is stressing them. So they start having these disorders where they're sad. Maybe their calves are not like their friends and stuff. So they start eating. And then they eat because they're sad. And then they're sad because they eat. And then they're in this thing that they can't do anything about, or it's just like the ones that make themselves sick. It's the same cycle for them.
it
It's the same
is.
cycle. So it's really good that we talk to our children. Though
Mhm.
if you don't sort it now, they'll just take it to adulthood, and then there'll be this kind of adults that people still judge. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
Asante.
something that definitely needs to be looked into and talked to, and you can get help because again, it's not just something, because you have to remember as well, it's an eating disorder. It's not just eating and getting yourself sick. There are those people who actually are eating only specific types of food. Like also there's so many diets that people get in,
Mm,
you start
mm,
having an obsession about these diets and you start looking at yourself differently. Like there was a
mm,
time they started, I don't know, the apple diet, where you only eat an apple.
mm.
There were a few diets in regards to that, but again, it's something that is still going on. If you think about it, you cannot eat an apple only. You need the
We
proteins, you
need
need the carbohydrates, you
variety.
need water, you need to actually have proper balanced diet for you to survive. But again,
Especially for that age when the body is changing, like you said, because it's common
exactly.
for children. That's why we say teenagers. For that age, they do need balanced diet. You cannot let them feed on one thing and think it's okay. Find some help if it's something you can't deal with, if it's extreme. But for the little, when it's just starting, for the little, when you just start noticing it, then you can try maybe discovering the things they like, the things they're allergic to. Try serving it in a presentable way, in small portions, maybe often, if you're thinking that the intake is not enough, then just do small presentable portions and then you can add them again later. Make sure they're drinking and stuff, and then see whether it's changing. But if it's beyond you, help. Get professional help.
That's very, very true. So I hope I've actually I've made a few people aware of what mental health actually is. Mental health
Oh,
is a big, 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 big topic. But if we keep on talking about it, it's okay not to be okay. The more we talk about it, the more we make more people aware of it, and we actually, the more people actually get support for it, the more people
mm,
actually um be kind to other people who are actually suffering from it. And that's why it's always okay to talk about mental health awareness. You don't know
mm,
if you might be suffering from it, you don't know the next person if they are suffering from it. So
mm.
be kind and keep on talking about it, because that's the most important.
Yeah. We are encouraging you to talk about it. When you all start talking about it, pole pole tu inaitwa nini, avalanche or something, pole pole tu hivyo siku moja tu, it will be something that we are free to talk about and learn from each other. I also do like talking about mental health. I don't go as deep as Coach goes. It's not an area of my expertise. I only started talking about it because of my own experiences, things I'd gone through. And then when COVID came, I realized, you know what? I don't want people to go through what I've gone through before. Let me make people aware of what I know. And I just started, I mostly talk about like depression and things like the low moods and stuff, anxieties and stuff. So I am on YouTube if you want to check some of those. And I like prevention better than cure. That's how I live my life. Yeah, when it comes to eating, I make sure that I eat right foods. I told myself some foods might be expensive, but paying for medical care is more expensive, even though it's free in UK, but you don't know what it might take you
Exactly.
just looking at your health. So I'd rather just eat well and save myself the agony. So when it comes to my mental health, I learned to prevent it. So I learned the little tools like appreciating life and stuff. I have videos about that too. You can check them out. But for the expert, Scotch, Alich, tell us what you do, how we can find you. Sing in the background there. We're seeing some beautiful African girl there.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So you can find a Scotch Kitchen. We have a website which is called africanscotchkitchen.com. And if from there, you can find us also in Facebook. We are Scotch Kitchen. You can find us on Instagram, Scotch Kitchen, which is Scholar Alex _ or just if you type in Scotch Kitchen, you're going to see this lovely lady you're seeing behind me everywhere. That is our logo. You will definitely find that. We are currently doing our own spices. So we have our chili sauce, which is called Scotch Motomoto. Just as the name
Oh,
Motomoto, it is hot and it is lovely. That's why we gave it the name Motomoto. Hot and sweet at the same time. And then we are also doing our 2 spices, which is all purpose. So there's one with without chili and the one with chili. You can find this in Kenya. You can find this in US. You can find it in the UK. And again, they are all in our website. But if you come and like our page and share our page and basically, what can I say? Thank you very much for
thank
giving
you
me
so much. Thank you so much. You'll have to name one after me. Ngoja nakuja, we name one after me. And then I
Oh,
hope
yes.
I hope you have salsa lately. Whether I'm pregnant or something. I'm so into nachos. So I hope you have salsa. Make some salsa. That is a salsa.
You can have motomoto with nachos. So you can just
With
have it
nachos
like that. Yes,
and
I
some
have it
cheese.
with everything. Everything. I
Hongera,
have it with
hongera.
everything. It's just that one chili sauce you can have with anything. You can have it the way it is. You can use it for seasoning. You can use it for anything, basically. That's what I can say. So you can find us
Asante.
and enjoy it.
Umeambiwa well done, well done. Good
Thank
job
you
to you, by
very
the way.
much.
Congrats. I
Thank
can't see the last message. I don't know that it didn't type it or whatever. Yeah, asanteni everybody for joining us today. Topic ilikuwa moto. Mental health, lazima we talk about it. Lazima we talk about it. Somebody is agreeing there about the Mombasa thing, that is very true. Yeah, absolutely. In Mombasa, if you had a kid who was special, then people will definitely judge you. It's not a made up story. I
Correct.
don't know that it's still a thing now, but it used to be. People used to have special kids. Tena ukiwa na mtoto ana Down syndrome and stuff. Na Down is such a no. Hata sijai understand why we used to think Down syndrome is such a bad thing. Watoto wa Down syndrome yeah, they're so beautiful. They are just normal people.
The stigma. That's the
The
stigma
stigma behind it doesn't even make sense. They
no.
just have one chromosome extra, and there you are, like, oh. So yeah, it's very true about that. And then you had your supporter there, Asante Sana, and the person who said that joining from Nairobi. I can't see your name. If you didn't let StreamYard use your name, I never get to see your names until after the end of the live. But I always enjoy reading the comments and stuff. We can continue with learning from each other on the topic. I believe, Scotch, when you have some time, you can add some of the notes. I use some of your notes there to enlighten people on them, but I didn't continue because I don't have the rights to use them. So yeah, I couldn't continue sharing, but you can continue educating us throughout the week. And then yeah, nitakuona karibuni.
No problem. Thank you very much, Nicole, for giving me this chance to come down and talk about something close to my heart. I am so excited, and thank you everybody for watching. God bless you.
God bless you too. Asante, I hope we'll be seeing you again. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye everybody for joining us. Asanteni sana. This is a hot topic. If you still have some things you want us to talk about, feel free. This is a safe place to talk about stuff. I don't believe in judging people. I don't think I'm not judging anybody anyway. I don't believe in judging. So let's talk, let's help each other. We're still shy. We don't want to tell people some of the things we struggle about, but we need to come out of that. We need to come out of that. For me, sometimes I just limit the things I share online. If it's my personal story, I'm happy to share. But if it involves somebody else, then I'm careful sharing it. But my other reason why I came into mental health is because we had a situation where we had somebody who was really highly suicidal and like tried to do it, not just threatening to do it. And it's really confusing and conflicting for a family, how you support that person, how you do that when it is your friend or family or staff. It's really difficult when it affects you that way. So yeah, I can only share what I think is safe and keeps the identity safe. But again, I want to learn with people. I want to teach people. I want to share with people. You can never know it all, and you can always do with extra support. So asanteni sana. That's it for today. Nashukuru. God bless you, Kwairini. Let me stay away from the sun kabla ni melt. Bye-bye.